There is one Indian in South Africa who is trying to remind people of South Africa about contribution of Mahatma Gandhi in anti-apartheid movement and also his contribution to India's freedom movement. He is Mr. David Gangan. He is chairperson of Gandhi Foundation in South Africa and he is here at Pravasi Bharatiya Sammelan in Indore. Mr. David, what brings you here? You have traveled so long from South Africa to here.
Yeah, well, firstly, thank you very much for asking me to say a few words. I always wanted to attend a Pravasi. I've never been able to do that in the past, so it's wonderful to be here amongst the diaspora from around the world. But we are here mainly to promote a conference that we are hosting, an international conference that we are hosting in Pietermaritzburg called the Gandhi Mandela King Conference, which is the three icons for peace and non-violence in the 20th century. And so the conference actually straddles the 7th of June, which is a very important day for non-violence, because that is the day when the night when Gandhi was thrown off the train in Pietermaritzburg and when his social activism actually started. So we always say that the 7th of June is the day that actually Gandhi was born as an activist.
Oh my God. So you are from the same place from where Gandhi was thrown out of the train?
Exactly. I'm from Pietermaritzburg, yes. And so what we got at the Pietermaritzburg station is we have a plinth that marks the spot where he was thrown, and lots of people from India and around the world who know a bit about our freedom come there to pay homage at that site. And also the waiting room where he spent that night on the 7th of June. We have a permanent exhibition in there now that tells the story of what happened.
You have been coming here in all Pravasi Bharatiya Sammelans?
This is my first one.
Okay.
Yeah, this is my first one.
Okay. So what do you plan? How are you conversing with people here who are there, who are fellow, participants of the Sammelan?
Yes, well, we have a few pamphlets that we've got, and of course I've got my business card, and we're chatting with people. But an important thing is the meeting with the representative from the External Affairs Ministry. So I'm meeting the Assistant Secretary tomorrow. Yeah.
So what do you think that how relevant is Gandhi in South Africa now?
Well, not just South Africa, but around the world. If you look at the way things have gone around the world, the issue of violence, especially violent uprising and so on, Gandhi's philosophy and Mandela and King's philosophy is very, very relevant. Yeah. So, I mean, Gandhi said that whilst satyagraha, which is truth force, might it seem passive, but it's not. And so there is a way outside of violence in order to get what you want, and that is through satyagraha. Yeah. And
how South Africans are remembering Gandhi nowadays? Do they remember Gandhi?
Yes, absolutely. Gandhi established the Natal Indian Congress in 1894. He came in 1893, but he established the first political formation in the country. Before the ANC was formed in 1912, Gandhi already established the Natal Indian Congress. So he's seen as one of the people, early activists that were responsible for our freedom, the freedom struggle through the years. Yeah.
In Africa?
Yes, in Africa, yeah.
So you are, how many generations have passed in Africa? Your family?
Yeah, I'm a fourth generation South African. My great-grandfather came from a village called Papuri village, just near Akot in Tamil Nadu. And so my grandfather, my father and I were born in South Africa, yes.
And are you going there?
Yes, I'm taking the opportunity to go there. Before I leave, I'm going to meet the family, whoever's there. I'm very excited about that. Yes.
Did you inform any of your family members?
Yes, I've got somebody that's actually looking at, because of the timelines, it's very difficult to keep track. And my family in South Africa, unfortunately, did not maintain the contacts through the years, So I'm hoping that I'll find somebody there that I can relate to, yes.
So if you're going there, what will you do? How do you want to connect with them, or just it's like one of the, meeting with people type?
No, it's certainly not a tourist kind of thing. This is to make real connections with my family. I mean, we have family across the world, so it's nice to be in contact. And also for our children and our grandchildren's sake, somebody along the line is going to ask, where did we actually come from, and so it's very important that we do this.
They ask you.
Yes, yeah. So it's very important that we do this.
Any of them come to India any time?
They haven't been, and they will definitely come back. They will come here as soon as I've made the contract and so on.
You are a very interesting person. So let me ask you one thing, that people here who are coming in Pravasi Bharatiya Sammelan, most of them, talk about technology, about computer, about finance, startup, innovation. Is there anything other than this new scientific and financial thing that connects India with the world or India with Africa?
Yeah, I think India, as the minister said this morning, India is not this backwater country anymore where people beg and those kind of things. India is a technological giant, and I've been through a visit in Delhi, where I saw some of the innovations for sanitation, for example, by Dr. Pathak. And so India is taking the lead in a whole range of things, and so yes, technology is an important aspect, but certainly there are other areas where India is showing the way also, to the rest of the world. Yeah.
Like if we say that the way India is developing and the way South Africa is developing. South Africa became independent after a long time when India became independent. But what is the basic trajectory and what is the basic comparison between the two countries? How will you compare it?
Well, firstly, the diplomatic relations started in 1994 when we got our freedom, right? And so it's 30 years. This year is 30 years since that event. And in that 30 years, there have been very, very strong ties between India and South Africa, not just politically, but also economically, culturally, and so on. So the ties are very, very strong. And but as you said, South Africa is a young democracy, and so we've got a lot to learn. And we are part of BRICS.
Okay.
We're part of BRICS, and so we lean on the big democracies like India. Of course, China is not a democracy, but certainly India, shows the way. And this year, by the way, South Africa is the host for BRICS, and so it's going to happen in South Africa.
Right. So my last question will be that how do you want to keep connection with India, like between India and South Africa? Only India through India, or you also want to include, who are not from India, but who are like indigenous South Africans?
Yeah, look, I think the ties need to be strengthened. Whilst there's some numbers that you can quote about what economic kind of exchange is happening between the two countries, but certainly there's a lot to still happen in the country. We need to learn more about your technologies. We've come and we have experienced certain things in India. You've come across to us also, and we've got some indigenous things that are happening in our country. But I think that there's a lot still to be done, to be strengthened, even culturally. We need more of Indian culture to come through. Unfortunately, what happens to the diaspora is that when you move away from India, then your cultural lives change a little.
Do you feel for it?
Yes, absolutely. And I'm embarrassed to say that I come from a Tamil-speaking background, but I can barely speak Tamil. So we become so westernized in South Africa. But there's a move now to go back to our roots in terms of language, in terms of culture, dance, and so on. Yes.
Are you having a better life there? Suppose your fourth generation had not gone there. Had you been in Tamil Nadu, but now you are in Africa. So how do you think your life more comfortable there than had you been in India?
Yeah, look, that's a difficult thing, to compare. But certainly we've got a good life in South Africa. I'm a professional, so I'm what you call the middle class in South Africa. And so there are certain benefits to that maybe I would not have had in India, I don't know. But certainly we are happy with where we are. There are issues, there are problems like India has. We've got our problems too. But it's a place it's our country. It's our motherland. While India is the land of origin, South Africa is the motherland. That's where we were born.
One of the major, motto of this Pravasi Bharatiya Sammelan also to learn from our NRIs or our OCI card holders, Indian diaspora, some good things of their experience. So do you have anything to share with India? Any good experience of South Africa?
I think the issue of tolerance that we learned from Gandhi, in fact, racial tolerance, language tolerance, cultural tolerance. I think that is because of the apartheid system. Indian people of Indian origin, were very, very united in the struggle for freedom. And so we crossed the language barriers, we crossed the cultural barriers, we crossed the caste barriers, that still
During the freedom movement.
Yes, that put us all together. And so I think we can teach the world about democracy, about the way we liaise with people, the kind of communication that we have, and so on. That certainly, in our 30 years of nobody thought that South Africa would be free the way it is now. People thought it was going to be a bloodbath. There'll be civil war, but it hasn't happened. And it's because of the nature of the people of South Africa. And I think that the world can learn of that,
About coexistence.
Yes, coexistence. Because at the end of the day, whilst we are of Indian origin, we're living in South Africa. We are South Africans first, then we are Indians second. And that's a very important thing for all of us to...
Okay. Some Britishers also used to say about India that India cannot live united for long after independence. But India is also united, India is also growing, and the same way South Africa.
Same with South Africa, yes. Yeah, no. We've proved the Britishers and everybody else who were skeptical about how things are going to go, we proved them wrong. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the great thing, that how India and South Africa grew, and somehow having same lineage, same history, but we are developing in a very different way, but in a democratic culture, in a democratic way. Akhilesh Suman for Sansad TV with camera person Kamaljeet in Indore.